Hey there, you guys. So I wanted to share my coming out story. Um, I've seen a couple of them, and I thought, I wanted to share mine. So yeah. So I guess here it goes. I guess I started thinking I was gay around seventh grade. Well, I didn't really know what to call it. I remember in seventh grade, so in middle school. I remember, that's the time, that's puberty. That's the time when, boys are starting to like girls and girls are starting to like boys. And so I remember all my guy friends starting to like girls, and I remember thinking I don't know if I really like girls. I think I like boys more than I like girls. This is when High School Musical was like a thing, so I remember thinking maybe I don't just find Troy Bolton to be this good, nice, cool basketball player, but maybe I don't just like him. Maybe I like him. Seventh grade is pretty confusing time for everybody, and me and my mom are super close, and so I remember around this time telling my mom. Hey, mom, I don't think I like girls very much. I think I might like boys. To give you some background on my mom, she's the most amazing person I know, but she's also very religious, and so when I told her that, her response to me was, "That is the devil, and you should pray." And when you're in seventh grade and you hear your mom say that, you really do believe them. You really do believe, what your parents say, and so I remember thinking she's right. This is bad, and I need to pray. And so, little seventh grade me would go to bed every night for a while, and I would just pray, and I would just cry, and I would just ask God, that if He loved me even just a little bit, He would make this go away. That if He loved me even just a little bit, He wouldn't do this to me. That He wouldn't do this to my family, and it's hard. You're in seventh grade. And so I remember, praying and asking for a long time. Now, of course, I know, that's not quite how it works, but at the time, I definitely wanted that to work. I didn't bring it up to my mom after that. And so, seventh grade rolled around, eighth grade rolled around, and by ninth grade, I went to boarding school. And so, boarding school, I went to high school, away from home, away from Texas. And, in ninth grade, I obviously didn't tell anybody. I tried really hard to hide it. I remember boys in the dorm being like, "Hey, you like this girl? Do you think she's hot?" And I would be like, "Oh yeah, she's so hot." Or, "Hey, this girl kind of likes you. Do you like her?" "Oh yeah, I love her." Because you just don't want people to find out. You just don't even want to talk about it. I didn't even want to think about it. And so I met this kid in my sophomore year, the beginning of my sophomore year of high school. And this kid, I never quite knew if we were friends or if we were more than that. It started off like that, putting his arm around me, and we were, always hanging out all the time. So I thought maybe we're just really good friends, we're like bros. But then our relationship started getting more complicated when we would play fight, and he would pin me down, and he would get really close to me and be like, what would you do if I kissed you right now? And I'd be like, oh, dude, like I'd punch you in the face. But obviously, like, in my mind, I was like, oh, please kiss me. That really started to confuse me. These feelings that I was having for him, I never had for anybody else. And it was bringing back something that I hadn't really talked about or really thought about since, 7th grade. Was he a really good friend of mine? Did I like him because of that? Or did I like him? And, nothing blossomed to that relationship. Like, after that, we stopped talking. It's a long story, but that's another video. So sophomore year, confirmed, I knew I was gay, but I didn't really know what to do with that. I was home for the summer this time, so I was back in Texas, and I don't know if I got in a fight with my mom or what happened, how it was brought up, but I remember just telling her, like, I'm gay, and I did what you told me to do. I prayed and I asked, and it didn't change. It didn't go away. Have you ever thought that maybe it didn't work because maybe God wants me to be this way? When you sit someone down who you really, really love, and you have to tell them something this big, and you're thinking in the back of your mind, like, what if this person isn't okay with that? It's scary. It's really scary. And she just sort of nodded, and, we didn't really talk about it after that. And then it was time for me to go back to school. And at the beginning of my junior year, I remember I was sitting with a friend, and this friend was a really good friend of mine in high school. And we were sitting down, and she was, at the time, she was having a lot of trouble with this guy that she really liked. But as she told me that, I remember thinking, like, well, I want to help her, and I want to know that I can relate to liking someone who you're confused about. And so maybe this is a good time for me to help her, but to also, tell her about me and tell her, where I'm at. And so I said, hey, like, I may not understand completely, but there was this boy last year who I really liked, who was also a little confusing. And, as I was telling her that, she was like, you're gay? And I was like, yeah. And she was great about it. And then from there, beginning of my junior year, I told a handful of really close friends of mine. And, they were people that I really trusted, and I was right in trusting them because they didn't tell anybody. I had some really good friends in high school, and I'm so happy that I was able to tell them. So since middle school, I've been writing music, playing guitar, and I never really realized how much music saved me, how much it helped me until my junior year. I had become really good friends with this kid, and he was really he was really interested in filmmaking and really interested in music, and very artsy and very creative. And I remember, we became really good friends, and I saw him outside sitting down doing something, and he had a guitar next to him. He had his guitar next to him, and I remember picking it up and thinking, oh, this is a really nice guitar. And I was playing with it for a little bit, and I remember him just looking at me and going, whoa, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's nothing. And he's like, no, what song is that? I go, oh, well, this is just something that I, put together. And so, I was really hesitant. But I played it for him. I sang the words to him. And then once I was done playing, he was like, wow, that's really good. Like, I really want to include that in a film, in a movie somehow, like you have to let me use it. Like, we should do something with it. And I remember thinking, like, this kid is crazy. I hadn't shown anybody my music. Because really, like, music was something that I only did because it made me feel better. Because it was this safe thing that I could do whatever I wanted with, and I could play as much as I wanted with. And when you tell people about things like that, when you show people something that means so much to you, it's scary. Because you don't want people's opinion tainting something that you love to do. And so hearing him say that, being like, I was just like, nah, this song that I wrote on the bedroom floor, like, no way, dude. But to hear someone say that, like, regardless of whether it was true or not, it feels pretty nice. And so, weeks passed and he kept insisting, like, hey, like, we have to do something with this. Hey, like, like, you should let me put this in a video. Like, hey, like, what are we gonna do? Hey, what are we gonna do? And I was like, wow, this kid is actually serious. Like, he wants to do something with this song. Something in me was like, okay, well, let's do something with it. And I was like, okay, well, I want the video to be, about what the song is about. And, the song is about me liking a boy. So, the video should be about, me liking a boy. So once the video was done around this time, the school was holding this concert. And so what you do is, you just sign up, and a bunch of, like, your peers, just go up and, like, and sing and perform. And so I thought, I want to do this. And so I signed up and I went on stage, and before I sang the song, I just said, this is a song I wrote about a boy. And I just started playing, and when people started saying, like, that the song is about liking a boy, like, they made that connection. Now, my school knew. Everybody in my school knew. And so, yeah. Music gave me the ability to be able to say how I was feeling without actually having to say it. And music really saved me. So after that concert and after people in my school found out, people were being immensely supportive, immensely kind, and I'm so grateful. At the end of my junior year, when I went back home, as soon as I got back home, we were done editing the video, and I was like, okay, well, now I'm gonna put it online. And so I decided to make a YouTube account, and I upload it to YouTube. And then after that, I read a status update on my Facebook, and I put the link on my Facebook. In the description, I also say, the song I wrote about a guy that I liked. And I released the video. So now, not just people in my school knew, but, everybody who I'm friends with on Facebook. So people from my middle school, people from back home, family, they saw it. And so now, I was really out. The summer before senior year, I get a call from my sister, and I answer the phone, and she tells me, hey, I was on Facebook and I saw your video. Is it true? And I was just like, yeah, it's true. And she just starts crying, and she's like, I'm just worried about Mom, like, this is gonna hurt her, like, your life is gonna be so hard for this. Like, do you know that people won't understand this? You know, I can't tell my kids this. I can't tell my husband this. And, you know, at this point I hadn't said anything. And she's like, look, I'm gonna hang up before I say anything stupid. And she hangs up. And I'm saying this not to make you guys think that, you know, I have terrible sisters, or, you know, my sisters love me, and they just never had to deal with something like this before. You know, but I was still pretty hurt. And then, so didn't really talk to that sister. And then I went back to school for for my last year at high school, at boarding school, my senior year. And I remember getting a call from my other sister. I have two sisters. Getting a call from my other sister being like, hey, like, I saw your video. She was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, why? And she says, I'm sorry that you had to carry this weight, this secret for so long. And I'm sorry that I wasn't the sister that you needed for you to feel like you could tell me this. It was probably the nicest thing I've heard to date. But now where I'm at, you know, both my sisters and my mom are super accepting. And to be honest, I think maybe it was just time, just patience with them, and just realizing that you know, this is something new for them. And yeah, you know, I just still don't really talk to my mom about, you know, dating and stuff, but now I'm in college and still trying to figure myself out a little bit, you know, and every now and then I still have to come out to people, so it's, you know, it's hard, but I'm feeling good, and I'm ready to keep growing and ready to keep going, and yeah. You guys are awesome. And if you're watching this because, you know, you're looking for advice to come out, or if you're waiting to come out, just know that for everybody it's different, and everybody's story is different, and everybody needs to wait for different times to come out. But hey, you're awesome, okay? And I believe in you, and you can do this.